Find the area of the square. Given an inscribed green right triangle of area, 20 square units. Trigonometric identity, Pythagoras theorem, area formula of semicircle. Arithmetic and algebraic operations are used to solve this question. Solution. Label points B, C, D, E, and G. Let angle CBD equals theta. This implies that angle GBE equals 90 degrees minus theta. Also, let the side length of the square be x. Since length CB equals length EB, this value is given. This implies that length CB equals length EB, which equals to half of x. From right triangle CBD. Using Pythagoras theorem, the square of length BD equals the sum of the square of length CD and the square of length BC, which equals to 1/4 of 5 times the square of x. After substitution and simplification of values, find the square root of the equation. This implies that length BD equals the square root of 1/4 of 5 times x, which equals half of x times the square root of 5. We call it equation 1. By trigonometric identity, length BC divided by length BD equals half of 2 divided by half of x times the square root of 5, which equals to cosine theta. Simplify and we have that cosine theta equals 1 divided by the square root of 5. We call it equation 2. Consider right triangle GB. By trigonometric identity, length BE divided by length BG equals cosine 90 degrees minus theta. We call it equation Y. Recall that cosine 90 degrees minus theta equals sine theta. Also, by trigonometric identity, sine theta equals the square root of 1 minus cosine square theta. Substitute equation 2 into the above derived equation. This implies that sine theta equals the square root of 1 minus square of the square root of 1 divided by 5, which equals to the square root of 4 divided by 5. The result is equals to 2 divided by the square root of 5. We call it equation 3. Substitute into equation Y. Length BE divided by length BG equals half of x divided by length BG, which equals to cosine 90 degrees minus theta. The final result is equals to 2 divided by the square root of 5. It follows that half of x divided by length BG equals 2 divided by square root of 5. Cross multiply and solve for length BG. Hence, length BG equals the product of half of square root of 5 and half of x, which equals 1/4 of x times the square root of 5. Area of right triangle DBG equals half the product of length BD and length BG, which equals to 20. Substitute values. We have that the product of half of x times the square root of 5 and 1/4 of x times the square root of 5, multiply by half equals 20. Simplify. It implies that 5 times x square, all divided by 16 equals 20. Cross-multiply and solve for the square of x. It follows that the square of x equals 16 times 20, all divided by 5, which equals to 64 square units. Since the square of x equals the area of the square, therefore, the required area of the square equals 64 square units.